mammoth, as well as lions and bears. The first Europeans, having forfeited the balmy clime of their African motherland, had to readapt their lifestyles to the frostiness of their new home. They dressed in heavy clothing and endured rough living in extreme weather conditions, not unlike today's Inuit of Alaska or the Sami of Lapland. The going was far from easy, and yet they somehow found the time, the need, and the exhilaration to express their minds in art. The emergence of art in Europe 40,000 years ago is arguably the most fascinating and significant occurrence in the evolutionary history of our species. Why did we begin to create art? Most importantly, why hadn't we done so before? Our species existed for nearly 360,000 years before the time of the first Europeans, and yet we had created nothing artistic. For eons we pursued a mundane life not dissimilar to that of other human species that preceded us, living and dying without fanfare, copiously reproducing the single artifact we had inherited from those who preceded us, the hand axe. And then, all of a sudden, 40,000 years ago, everything changes with a bang. To begin, we paint cave walls with murals of stunning beauty and narrative complexity, to carve sumptuous figurines of women, to play flutes and dance, to adorn our bodies with beads and colors, to develop highly specialized new weapons and hunting techniques, to bury our dead with sophisticated rituals, as if the dead continued to live beyond the grave, to imagine chimeras, half lion, and half human. The emergence of art must represent a quantum evolutionary leap in our cognitive system. Take, for example, the chimpanzees, our closest living relatives today. We share nearly 98.8% of our genetic material with them, and yet, however fascinating, likable, and intelligent chimpanzees are, they have never developed art. Indeed, no other species on our planet has developed art except Homo sapiens sapiens, us. We are truly unique. If we want to understand how our minds became so unique, and why we seek to construct artificial minds, we must first seek whatever turned us into artists. To begin our quest, we must climb down our genealogical tree by some 6 million years to arrive at the common ancestor of human and chimpanzee, and begin our story from there. The drama of our past. The common ancestor we share with the chimpanzees must have included several curious individuals within its ranks. They separated from their kin to explore better feeding grounds and wandered about the ever-changing environment of Africa. Around 1.5 million years later, they evolved into several new species we call Australopithecines. The Earth's climate had changed considerably by then. The long grass of the savanna had replaced much of the tropical forest that once covered Africa. If we could pay a visit to those hairy, distant grandfathers and grandmothers of ours, we would be hard-pushed to distinguish them from the other apes that roamed about the place at that same time. But they were indeed different, mutants set on a destiny that would one day separate them from the rest of the animal kingdom. A few would occasionally stand on their back feet to peek over the grass for lions or food. With time, this advantageous habit of the few was inherited by their offspring, who were born with the gift of bipedalism. They could now run faster in the savanna, spot enemies more quickly, and survive for longer. Their numbers multiplied with each generation. They evolved even more. They became less ape and more a type of being that could use tools and strategy to hunt, collaborate in teams, and increase the probability of survival by learning to adapt. Around 2 million years ago, the first member of our Homo lineage appears, Homo habilis.